Yes. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whenever you're watching this around the world. As always, I'm your host, Mr. A, and this is the set 6145. Real people telling real stories. Um, Something different today. I reached out to this gentleman who I found on Instagram, and I love creatives, whether it's music, whether it's fashion, art, visual art, and so on. And I found this gentleman on Instagram, and he is I use the word fashionista, but he's into fashion. And his approach to fashion is not very common. It's something called repurposing. He takes pieces and he repurposes them and makes them his own. And I was thoroughly impressed. I really like his approach to his work, his creativity, and what he does. And the outcomes that he has are fucking incredible. So I reached out to him on the humble. He agreed to come on the show. So today we're going to be interviewing Mr. I'm going to fuck up his name, but Mr. Gibran, and I'm saying it with an accent, but it's Gibran Leon. He's from the Bay Area, and he has a clothing line called Bajo Construxion. And I even thought that was dope because I was like, yo, under construction, that shit is fly. So, of course, I'm going to add pieces of his work to the show in the edit so you guys could take a look at it. Also, go to his Instagram. It's Bajo_Construxion, and you can see all his work there. But again, I'm going to be flashing it in the edit so you could take a look. And we're going to sit down and have a conversation and find out all about him. So let's not waste no more time. It's fucking raining outside. So the set welcomes Mr. Gibran Leon of Bajo Construxion. You.
Morning, afternoon for you guys.
Yeah. You're out west. You're 3 hours behind.
Yeah.
How's your day so
Yeah.
far, brother?
Good. Thank you for inviting me onto the show. Appreciate it. It's
Absolutely.
love.
It's always good to see Latinos doing whatever. You know,
Yeah,
we
no doubt. Yeah.
we're not very favored in the press.
Yeah.
So I like I said, I when I saw your work, man, I love creatives. I've done music before. I've always been into being creative, and I've had lots of friends that have done music, art. Some have done clothing. I know a gentleman who put out his own footwear. Um,
Hell yeah.
I always admire that. You know what I'm saying? To see where these inspirations come from. And culturally speaking, there's a young lady that I had on the show, and I'm glad that I just said this because it reminded me. She's a Latina who has made a living off of art, and she does NFTs that are
Oh,
fucking out of here. And she goes by the name of One Rad Latina. Salute to you. I wanna big her up. I didn't get to do that in the last segment that I had a visual artist on. But One Rad Latina, she does art, she does visual art, she's done murals, she's done all sorts of things. But then she shifted to the digital world and she does NFTs. If you look up her Instagram, bro, her shit is
I'll check her out for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
her shit is like really is out of here. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is because in the conversation I had with her, which I also want to point out to you, were your folks, did they come down on you because culturally, art, I guess I hit it. Art is not
Yeah.
something that you go to your mommy or your papi and you be like, yeah, I'm gonna be an artist, and they're like, oh, okay, bueno, mijo, and
Yeah.
you know,
You know it's funny actually because like so I went to school for I'm a paralegal. I'm like a legal assistant at a labor and employment law firm. That's my main job. Like that's my full time. And there's my passion project that I started off on the side. But yeah, like my mom, she was super fucking with it. Like she has a catering and decoration business. So she puts together like a bunch of like the manteles and stuff for like the weddings, the quinceañeras,
nice.
what have you. And yeah, so I always liked art, but I never was like artistically inclined, I guess,
Hmm.
or talented at it. And I always just try to see where I could fit in or whatever. I started doing photography during the pandemic, and that was just like to keep busy. It was just something I really loved. My dad used to love doing photography as well, but like just on the side. But when I approached my mom, I was like, "Hey, enséñame cómo a coser." Like, like I showed her kind of like you look at it differently. I'm like, I want to take a different approach. I just need you to teach me and like,
Mhm.
help me learn this. And she was down and she didn't really get what I was doing.
Mhm.
But I was just like, just teach me and just just rock with me. So like technically this brand is my mom and I. She doesn't really like to be out there, like,
Yeah.
but like it does not go without her.
Mhm.
Like it doesn't happen without her. So I'm the one that's pretty much designing everything and but ella me ayuda a coser, and at the end of the day, like I learned all of it from her. So, but my dad was a little different story. He's like, well, yeah,
No
yeah, my
mames.
yeah, yeah. He's like, "¿Qué chingados andas haciendo?" Like he just talk, it's understandable. You know what I mean? Like it's like everybody's trying to get by and make some money and shit, and then he sees me over here making some little arts and crafts. It's like, "Pa, just trust me. Like, I know what I'm doing. Like, it's a new age. I'm not gonna go sell it at the at an arts and crafts. Like, I got something figured out. I got something in mind. I got something in store. And now he sees it. Now he gets it. He's like, okay. He's like, but where's the money? It's like, man, this is just respect the art. The art is cool. Like,
Yeah, it's funny because that would be my next question. Usually your mother's going to be the more nurturing and supportive in some ways, right? Whereas your
yeah,
dad is going to
yeah,
be more, especially, I'm going to keep saying it, de cultura de nosotros, los
yeah.
hombres son machismo y tú tienes que trabajar con los manos, and
Well,
you know
hey,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
He would cheer you
yeah,
on if he was like, "Dad, I'm going to be a
yeah,
mechanic, or I'm going
yeah,
to be in
yeah.
construction, or what, you know what I'm saying?" So,
Yeah, and it's funny, because my bad, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, you're
It's
good.
like, so I used to like, growing up, like I grew up like, that's why I named the brand how I named it. Because I mean, for one, like we're reconstructing, like building something up, like the clothing wise, but like with my pops, like with my family in general, like we were always working into some capacity, remodeling something or like some type of labor, like for better for worse, like the immigrant culture, we have a lot of, we're in the labor section up to a certain point, I mean, not everybody, but you get what I mean.
Absolutely.
Like me and my pops, like we've always worked in some type of construction in some capacity growing up. Like those are like my fondest memories being a little kid, and I'm helping my dad do some type of construction around the house or something around the house. Entonces, like, if it fit perfectly, and like that's why it's I wanted to make sure I kept it in Spanish, so it's like very like personal to me. It's like very personal to like my type of community. So I was just like very adamant about keeping that name for the brand.
It's crazy that you say that because when you're young, I know when I was young, when you're a young kid growing up in our environment, we don't understand the importance of first, we don't come from money, right? That's the first part. Yo, there's
Yeah,
a fucking fly in here. Mira carajo. Anyway, fuck that dude. Um, we don't come from money, right? So the understanding as a man now, that my understanding now of it is that you have to learn how to be poor. And just because you're
yeah,
poor financially doesn't mean you have to live poor. I grew up watching, my parents or family members. You driving down the street, you could see a mirror, a dresser, something that somebody threw away, y lo coge
oh
and
man,
repurpose
that's
it and
my
make it look like some brand new fly shit.
that's literally my dad. He literally fucking picks up shit that till this day, till this day, he literally comes and brings the randomest shit.
Hmm.
To this day, he still goes and finds something.
Hmm.
Mira, mira, esto puede servir todavía. I'm like, man, throw that shit out. There's a reason why it's on the street. Like some stuff is cool, but goddamn, like literally to this day,
Hmm.
and it's just, yeah. I don't live with him anymore, but he lives close to me. He lives close to me, but I already know. I'm like,
But it's a
like, you don't want to like, I get it where they come from.
mhm.
And so I did pick that up. That is a mania that I picked up, but It's yeah, it's everlasting. It's everlasting, man.
Absolutely. The funny thing about that is, and the point I'm trying to make is, it's a beautiful thing to learn because at the end of the day, you again, you don't have to be financially like living like the Joneses. You can be
Right.
poor and still live like with this comfort because you got to learn how to be poor. You don't got to be poor and have a rundown fucking place. And that's the beautiful
Right.
thing of our culture. A lot of the people from our culture, our family, our relatives, and so on, they would take the shittiest of circumstances and make them beautiful, right?
Yeah.
So you would see Wella have her couch that she got, and she's like, no, I'm wrapping this bitch in plastic because it's going to last, right? Pero también you would see your uncle, and he would grab some shit and bring it in the house and fix it all up and stain it, paint it, whatever the fuck. And wow, well, I got a brand new chinero because Theo went and grabbed that shit off the street. But it ties into the name of under construction.
Yeah.
When I was looking at your work, I was like, holy shit, this is dope because even though there's pieces that are established in his mind, he's like, nah, I'm putting my touch on this. This is going to be
Yeah.
something even prettier than when it first started and when it came to the table. So I guess that leads to my question. You said that, during the pandemic, this is all how, this is pretty much what gave you the inspiration. But what made it that approach to the fashion? Like, what made you say, like, yo, you know what? I want to take this and make it my own. Like, how did that come to you?
So, so I kind of inadvertently like started doing this like years ago. Like so I had there was like some clothes I had, and I love the design on it, but it was like cheap material, or like I just wore it out so much. I fucked it up, and it was all ripped up to the point where it was like overly distressed. So I was just like, I didn't want to just toss it, and I wasn't gonna donate it because it was too fucked up to donate.
Hmm.
So what I would do, I would just cut it out. I would just keep the design, and my intention was like, oh, I'll just frame this later on. And so I just kept a bunch of stuff framed. And one day I had a dope design for a so it was like a local brand, but their material was real cheap, and like so I liked the design, so I kept it, and it was like a Raider shirt, and so I ended up having this sewn onto a jacket. Excuse me, 1 second.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
What I wanted to touch on is the response, because I know that Chicano culture. I don't know if you associate yourself with Chicano culture.
no, yeah, for sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
so Chicano culture is something that's huge, right?
yeah,
It's reached Japan. Like,
yeah. No, yeah, that's keep going. Yeah,
so
that's
so I wanted to know, like, because I'm fascinated by Chicano culture. Like,
yeah.
you know, the religious sort of affiliations, the dress, and the tying into of like doo-wop music, because
Mhm.
Chicanos love doo-wop like heavy. There's even an artist, I forget his name right now. I'm trying to get this dude. He's a rapper, but
Yeah,
all his beats tienen doo-wop samples, and
yeah, yeah,
dude, it works. He looks like a Chicano, like he's at work, como un mecánico, like he's dressed up khakis,
yeah,
wife beater,
yeah.
got the hanky.
Yeah, that's more so like that LA. That's like
Hmm.
that's like that LA culture, like there's Chicanos up everywhere, but everybody has like their own like, culture like everywhere, like
Hmm.
I got a lot of people in LA, and then when you go down to LA, it's like, it's different. Like the culture is everywhere, pero todo mundo tiene like their specific, like
Their
their
spin,
own style.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of
Yeah,
dudes like wearing
up here in the Bay Area, where Chicanos are a little different. It's like in Chicago, Chicanos are a little different.
hmm.
New York, everybody, Texas, what have you.
Absolutely. In
Yeah.
the Bay Area, are they into like that whole hyphy or what?
Well, the hyphy movement, that was like it's like something that's like, you know in the DNA of the Bay,
Mm,
but it's like, like everything evolves.
right.
Everything evolves. Like the sounds evolve. Sounds grow up. Everything matures, and you know, it's it's like I said, it's in the DNA.
Hmm.
Like always gonna be there. But,
Absolutely.
things things progress.
So
Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm literally telling my hold on. Excuse me, man.
go ahead, bro. But
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
let's get to what I was
Yeah.
originally
Yeah,
asking.
can you hear the noise back there?
No,
Or
no, no, no. I just caught a bit of the conversation. I don't hear them like if they're doing any.
okay, okay, yeah, no, I don't 'cause I don't wanna yeah, I don't wanna
Now I would have told you. I'd be like, "Yo, that shit is crazy loud."
alright, for sure. Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Yeah.
so what has been the response thus far? Like, is this something that your people specifically are like, yo, this shit is fly because it's a
Yeah,
blend. You know, people love fashion, especially now, young people love fashion. They love to be original. I think that's where I'm
yeah.
driving at.
That's actually why I really got into it because like me, I always like vintage clothes
Hmm.
because I don't like for one, I don't like I like all kinds of clothes, but like for me, like I like vintage clothes, like you know what I mean. Like I like wearing like old school stuff that's like original that you're not gonna see around a lot. Like I don't want to be wearing the same thing that the next guy's gonna be wearing, and it's just I just like the old school look. Like my pops when they like so my parents they came from Mexico. Um, I'm the firstborn out here, so my parents came from Mexico, and my dad he always had like a dope style. So I took some of his clothes, when he was too old to wear it. So I took some of his old school clothes, and I just like the that styles come back. Like the
Absolutely.
'80s and stuff. Like it's like it's something dope.
Hmm.
Like I like the '80s, '90s style, and so just I just always like to keep a lot of like vintage clothing, and then for me it was just like I started seeing some people like reworking some things, like again back to what I was saying, like how some of the clothes got messed up to the point where I couldn't really wear it, but I was like I don't want to get rid of it, like it's too dope. Can you hear all that? No.
That's a no
All
no.
right. Yeah. 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 I guess it'll be part of the interview, right?
There you go.
Uh. Yeah. Yeah. So they're I like keeping this like give me 1 second. Yeah. Um yeah, nah, so yeah, like I was saying, like with like vintage clothes, like I just I seen some people like reworking things but like using machine,
Hmm.
and then like it kind of just like I personally like being able to see like the work, like like the stitching. Like I got into like this, so this is like kind of a it's called it's a Japanese style stitching. It's called Sashiko stitching,
Okay.
and that's what really caught my eye. I don't know, I just kind of like started seeing some people doing it, and I was like, damn, that's so dope. Like it's hella clean. Like I know it's not for everybody, but I just like I loved seeing the stitch work where you could see it pop. And so I was like, okay, let me try this with the clothes I have and like my fabrics, because like at the end of the day, this is it's a Japanese style stitching. It's like their traditional styles of mending and stitching. And then so it kind of goes back to what you were saying, how there's a lot of like Chicano influence in Japan and like here in the West Coast. There's a it's a melting pot, right?
Absolutely.
So in a way, like my brand is kind of like a melting pot of like different like cultures in a way. It's my iteration, it's my interpretation of it's my obviously it's not the most traditional way of doing it, but like I just started using like sarape and like manta and like like our type of fabrics usando telas latinas pues de todos lados and just doing it by hand because like I'm not reinventing the wheel here,
Hmm.
like I'm just doing it my way, I'm putting my rims on the wheel, like I'm doing
Absolutely.
my own thing with it, like so that's really what it was. Like I saw other people doing their thing, and I was like, this is dope. I want to do it. I want to try it my way. And then so I had my mom teach me how to do it with the needle and thread, and ultimately that's just you pick it up by practice. Like there's no super formal training. I was just like, I was just trying it on my own and just, trial by fire.
Hmm.
And yeah, like people like started really fucking with it. A lot of people, like just been like, like I said, showing me a lot of love, and as I'm doing it, I'm learning. I'm like learning it at the same time.
Mhm.
I'm still, I'm an amateur at this, like straight up. I just like dope shit. Let me try to put my own spin on something, and let me try to do something like very unique and original. Because at the end of the day, like I want to make something that's completely unique and original, one of ones, that nobody else is gonna have. And that's what I try to like reiterate with people. Some people or oh, you don't have anything in stock. It's like, well, it's not that I don't. It's just like it takes. It's my mother and I doing this, and obviously she can't always do it. So like I'm doing it as I can on my free time,
Mhm.
and it takes a lot of time. So it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy and like mental energy, and just you know the
The process.
putting it all together. Yeah, the process takes a while. That's why I just started like recording myself a lot more, so people could take a look at how the behind the scenes is. And yeah, no, I mean, I wish I had all the time in the world to work on it. I wish I had all the hours and the days of the. I wish I had all the energy in the world to work on it. But I've been feeling that días that I'm enjoying I'm enjoying how they're coming out.
Mhm.
It's dope when I hear like people like you or other people like reach out to me just showing love, because it like I'm the same way. When I see something cool, even if I'm not gonna buy it or like I'm still gonna be like, oh, that shit's fucking dope. Like
Absolutely.
sí, échale ganas, It's a cool it's cool to like see that other people are enjoying my work as well. Cause I see, at the end of the day, I see it like as my own artistic expression. Like I said, I was never the best drawer, painter, whatever, but like I feel like I found my lane with this. And I'm gonna try to take it as far as I can. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm getting. I had to tell people I'm not doing commissions anymore, because I think we spoke on it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like I don't really like when people, like, I do a lot of my stuff that's abstract. It's like one of my like artistic like inspirations is Basquiat.
Mhm.
So he was like mad like hella abstract, and that's what I like. That's the type of art that I like. It's like real abstract, and so I don't like to be like hindered into like, or like have somebody restrict what I want to do. I'd rather just make stuff, and then like if somebody fucks with it, they fuck with it. If they don't, they don't.
Mhm.
I feel like there's other like-minded people that are gonna like what I make. So that's why I just kind of don't really like doing commissions for the most part, unless it's something that really excites me
Right.
and they give me the full creative control on it. Then for the most part, I just like to make stuff, because I got so many ideas in my head and only X amount of hours to work on it.
Mm.
So, you know what I mean? I don't want to like limit my I guess productivity is what I want to say. My
Absolutely.
creativity. Yeah.
I think that people don't understand that as much, because when you admire an artist for what they do, you kinda gotta just let them do what they do. That's why you
Right.
admire them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like saying music, uh, I have a lot of favorite MCs, one of them being Redman. Redman is one of my favorite MCs. I wouldn't
Yeah.
call Redman up to be on a track and be like, "Oh no, I want you to rhyme like this."
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And I had
Yeah.
another artist, a visual artist, a painter. Her name is
Hmm.
Yvonne Ferguson. She's from
Hmm.
Florida. Dude, her shit fire. And one of the things that we talked about, which was commission, and it's the same
Hmm.
thing. You have to allow the artist that you're admiring to be who they are. That's why you admire them. You can't commission a piece and be like, "This is what I want." No,
Yeah. Yeah.
listen. This is like, for somebody like myself, I would go to you and be like, "Yo, Gibrand, check this out. I got this hoodie. I'm gonna send it to
Hmm.
you. Do what you do."
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's like the people like that. What I that's the type of shit that I would do
Mhm.
if once I find the time. For example, like I had somebody from New York, this cat named Oliver. He hit me up, same thing. Like he asked me to make him something. It was like last year actually, He said like, I'm a Brooklyn guy. I like what you're doing with your culture. Like, he's like, would you be down to do like a Pan African one? And I'm like, yeah, that actually sounds dope. It's like something I wouldn't do otherwise. Like, if unless it's like, like you bring it up to me, I'm like, yeah, that sounds dope. He's like, yeah, he's like, I'm a Knicks fan. I like what's his name? Starks. He's like, that's pretty much it. I was like, okay, like after that, he's like, yeah, just do your thing. He's like, that's why I approached you. I want you to do it your way. And I'm like, all right, cool. So then I was like, all right, let me just get the Pan African in there, get the John Starks Knicks in there. And then after that, I was like, all right, I'm gonna just go crazy with Brooklyn and I was like, oh, okay, I had this Basquiat shirt. I was like, let me just work that in there too. And so I just kind of like went crazy doing my own thing with it. Like, you know what I mean? Like he wasn't too involved in it, which is exactly what I like. I don't want people like telling me what they like. Like if you're reaching out to me, you're reaching out to like how I'm is my style. And so ultimately, I just put things together. Like if you give me a theme, or if I already have like some vintage stuff that I'm working on, like I'll just work with what I have. I don't, como te digo, no me gusta cuando me andan diciendo, oh, like, lo quiero que esté así, que quiero que diga mi nombre aquí. I was like, then you should just go with somebody else because I can't do all that. Like,
You should just do
you
it
know what I mean? Like,
yourself.
yeah, at that point, it's just like, I can't, you should go to like a super, super professional tailor with an embroidery, like at the end of the day, man, I got my needle, I got my scissors, and I got my thread.
Ya está.
And that's just, you know what I mean? I'm like keeping it real traditionally basic. And then I'm just making everything abstract.
Mm.
Like that's kind of what I'm like, that's how I get down with it. Like, I keep it real simple. But I make something complex at the end.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that because again, the expression from the artist is theirs, and you have to kind of like give them
Yeah.
room to be, who they are.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
something like that, like, dude, run with that. I saw your
Yeah.
one of my favorite pieces as I went through your gram was the camel jacket you did. Now, I,
Yeah.
I don't know if you understand being from the Bay Area, camel jackets for New Yorkers, especially for Brooklyn
Yeah,
Jews, yo, that's like
yeah,
that's like wearing underwear for us.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So when I saw it, I showed it to my wife and I showed it to my son, and
Mhm.
and they both responded, "Yo, that's like Jamaican, like and I'm like, yo, it's crazy
Yeah,
because in the late '80s, I was going to dance hall, and the fashion labels that were catering to Jamaican, Guyanese, Trinidadian people were
yeah.
were constructed in that way. Big
Mhm.
labels and stitching and this very, very loud, very, very flamboyant,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So when they said that to me, I immediately started laughing. I was like, yo, that's crazy how you guys picked up on that. My son
Yeah,
is
yeah.
25. Like, how do you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I thought that jacket, I was like, yo, that shit is fire, you know? And you see who you are in these creations. And if
Mhm.
people are gonna, commission you for something, that
Right.
should absolutely be the approach, right?
Yeah, yeah, just,
Let me
yeah,
work.
like, yeah, exactly. I actually got this one right here. Let me see if you
Oh
can even
shit.
see it.
Oh shit.
So it's like,
Ah, yeah. See? That's
yeah, I'm still working on this one, but, I'm just playing around with this one right now.
yeah, that's fire.
What I'm putting together one for my homie. He's a Niner fan. He already paid me for that, but now that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to get a lot of stuff done. Like one of my boys, he's him and his lady, like they like high fashion and stuff. So they fuck with what I'm doing tough. So they gave me some new Gucci shit to work on. Like they gave me some brand new Gucci stuff. Yeah. So that's
Wow.
one of the that's one of my priorities because I want to get everything out the way, and like that's
Focus.
expensive shit. Yeah, it's like real expensive shit. So I got to make sure that I give them a dope product.
That's what's up. I want to ask you
Yeah.
something because we sort of touched upon pieces and being original, right? One thing that I was into growing up was footwear. I was heavy into
Hmm.
footwear.
Yeah.
But the thing that happened in my generation was the Jordan brand. I grew up in the
Yeah.
in the Jordan era.
Yeah.
So in that lane, we always wanted to go to different places to find unique sneakers, you
Mhm.
know? So Jordans were out, ACGs had come out at that time. Like this is the mid to late 80s when all this is happening. And being original was a thing. Like, yo, we wanted to have shit that nobody had.
Right, right.
So in you developing your pieces and being able to have that original piece, like you said, you had other pieces, that you were like, yo, I love this, but it's all fucked up. But I'm gonna keep the design and I'm gonna make
Yeah, yeah.
make it some new shit. I'm
Yeah.
looking at that sweater you have on, and something's telling me that that's a vintage piece. Am I right?
This one right here? Yeah, it's not a real Coochie. I forgot what brand it is, but it's a vintage
Shh, you're not
piece.
supposed to say that.
Yeah, yeah.
We could have ran with it.
Yeah, yeah, just well, you could edit that out then.
but
Yeah,
but
no, it's a vintage piece though. Yeah.
let me
Yeah, I do like like I said, I got like my little network throughout the country of like thrift stores and stuff. Because at the end of the day, like a lot of thrift stores now, you can't find shit. Like you kind of have to like look it up online. You have to like tap in with your own network. I mean, sometimes you can, but just like the shoe game and everything else, like some things got so oversaturated
hmm
that it's hard to like
find
find
shit.
what you're looking for at a you know at a reasonable price.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But the pieces, something that I learned as I got older, by my wife, because my wife she's another one that comes from that background of you got to learn how to be poor, right?
Yeah.
My wife, I've watched her over the years. She's always done shit in a fashion sense that she'll like. Just for instance, she had these pants one time. They look. You remember MC Hammer pants,
Yeah.
right? Okay, it's sort of like the cut of the pants were in that vein, right? But they were very patterned behind like Coogee, like the pattern of
Mhm. Yeah,
coloring.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Real loud.
yeah, like so not neon and nothing, but just like pastel colors and whatever. So she buys these pants. I wasn't there with, but she excuse me, she bought these pants. One day we're going to work and she has these pants on. It's the spring summer. It's pretty nice out. So I'm looking at her, I'm like, oh shit, those are funky.
Yeah.
About 2 months later, it's like mid-August. Now everywhere I look, I'm seeing these women wear these pants, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I went to my wife. I said, let me ask you a question. Like, where did you? Oh, this is my shit, and you know, it's certain pieces, pa. You gotta be able to put pieces together because you can't just think of the whole outfit. Sometimes you'll see something and the way it's cut and the way it falls, like, and I'm like, what? Who the fuck am I married to? Like, are you a fashion? Like, are you doing
Yeah.
shit? Like, you got another job? But she's the one who made me realize the importance of, like you said, those pieces that just do something that you can put
Yeah.
together with other things, right?
Yeah.
So I guess my question to you is when you're producing these pieces, are you sort of like putting that together in your head? Like, I'm making this piece because it works this way. I'm making this piece because the colorway or whatever have you.
Well, yeah, it depends really, like, I mean, for the most part, uh, they're gonna be busy. They're gonna be loud pieces, that's kinda like, I'm reworking them to make them original. So it's gonna be a busy piece. It's not something that like I wouldn't personally wear with too much others. Like it's kind of like a statement piece. It's like if you have like a big, loud coffee table in the room. You don't want it in. I mean, me personally, like that would be the centerpiece of the room, you know.
Absolutely.
So like, I feel like I want to make my art, my clothing, my pieces. I wanted to make it like the statement piece, you know. If you're wearing a super loud shirt, you don't want to. I mean, again, personally, I wouldn't wear like some super loud pants with it. Like I wanted to like be that the main focus of the of the outfit, you know? Like that's how I approach all my pieces. Like I want them to be like, damn, like look at that, like eye catching, because that's how I am. Whenever I see something and like even if it's really expensive, it stays in my head. I'm like, damn, I want that. Like, I want that, like,
Mhm.
even though I shouldn't spend the money on it right now, like, I want it. Like, that's how I want people to look at my work to the point where I just gotta have it.
Mm.
I gotta have it, and I'll save up for it, and I'll buy it because I gotta have it.
Right.
I have to have it. It's like, that's how I was growing up, like, when like, saw some original ass shit, like, I really need it.
Mm.
Like, and, that's I'm kinda creating stuff for a younger version of myself, like,
Okay.
how I would wanna buy something, what I would see, like, that's something that, like, se me quedó en la mente y no se me sale. You know?
No, I hear you. That
Yeah,
certain people don't understand that you can have like I look at your pieces and I'm like, yeah, it's busy, it's loud, but if you
yeah,
style it the right way, the rest of
right.
they call it the ensemble. The rest
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
ensemble makes it flow.
yeah,
So people will look at it and be like, yo, that shit is crazy. What the fuck? But if
yeah,
you put it together the right way, accent your footwear colors,
yeah,
whatever pants, if you got jeans or whatever,
yeah,
you can make everything work. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And
and, like, sometimes, like, what do you call it? Some of the stuff I make, I'm like, "This is hella dope." Like, I don't know if I could rock it. Like, I don't know if I could even, like, swing it, but I know that I made it in mind for somebody. Like, I already know some people could rock the fuck out of this.
mhm,
Like, sometimes I'll see some outfits for some other people, I'm like, I could never wear that, but that's just dope as fuck. Like, that's so dope. Like, like,
yeah,
that person's rocking the shit out of that.
yeah,
Like, and that's like, that's the appreciation of something where it's like, it may not be for me,
mhm,
but that's for you, and I appreciate you rocking the fuck out of it. Like, I see you. Like, that's how I am with a lot of, like, clothes. Like, when I make clothes and when I see clothes, like, something really unique, like, even though it may not be for me, like, I acknowledge, I respect it though. I respect, like, everybody has their own swag, their own style. Like, it's all subjective at the end of the
absolutely,
day.
absolutely. A lot of people, again, growing up in the '80s, man, the fashion was just there was so much.
Yeah.
It was definitely out of here. From the mid to late '80s into the '90s, fashion, especially from hip hop, right? There was
Mhm.
everybody had their own, as you said earlier, their own iteration, their own style, right? And the way they put shit
Yeah.
together made them stand out. Like I remember wearing shoes in high school, and motherfuckers like, "Yo, ¿ponle va? You going to church or you going to court today? Like, what the fuck
Yeah,
are you
yeah.
doing?" And I'm like, "Bro, you
Yeah.
just, this ain't for you. This is me."
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah, yeah.
saying? And
Mhm.
that's what makes you stand out. Your own
Yeah,
sort of like they say today,
yeah,
swagger, your own swagger.
yeah.
And we
Yeah, yeah. No, go. My
go
bad.
ahead, Pod, this is your shit.
Yeah, no, like, yeah, no, it was, like, even this, like, some of my people, not everybody, but some of my people would be like, "Oh, where you going? Like, you looking all Flor like, man, you don't know nothing about this." But the people that do, I have a lot of friends that do, and they're like, "Oh, that's a fly ass sweater," you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
Like, I don't wear this every day, but when I do, it's for, like, like right now. But, like, I wear it when I feel like, when I feel like I want to get something busy. I'll wear something loud, and it's
Absolutely.
obviously I can't wear this to the office,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But
yeah.
when I like to wear something loud, you're gonna hear it.
It's a flex.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of people, you got to be able to take risk, and I think that says a lot about your brand. You're taking a risk in your expression because, like you said
yeah,
before, it might not even be for me, but somebody
yeah,
else will pull that shit the fuck off because they know
yeah,
they have their
yep,
own sense, right? And they could
yep,
take a
yep,
piece and make that shit look crazy.
yeah,
And I think that being able to look at somebody's work and give it props and be like, yo, that shit is fire. You know,
yeah,
uh, too much ego today where people don't
yeah,
take the
no,
time
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah, for
appreciate
sure.
the work.
Yeah, yeah, I've had a lot of people, like, try to, like, at the end of the day, I'm very self-aware
Mhm.
in a lot of things, and, some people are like, "What are you doing? Like, I don't get it. Like, why you doing this? Like, it looked fine before." And it's like, bro, like, it ain't for you. Like, it's all good, like, and then I'll tell people my price is like, oh, who's gonna pay for that? Da, da, da. It's like, bro,
Not you.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, it's like I'm not even gonna be like, oh, you a hater. Da, da, da. I was like, all right, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even like, I don't even feed off that energy. You know, like for me, it's just like it's good. Like I got enough people that like it. All I need is one. Like I don't need you to like it. You know what I mean? If it ain't for you, it ain't for you. And like, you what's to say? If you ain't got nothing good to say, then don't say nothing. Like,
Absolutely.
but it's funny because when I first started this too, I was selling my pieces really cheap just because I wanted to make them and I wanted to get them to like some of my people. And like a lot of my close friends like they supported it like off, not even just off the love, but like they actually fucked with it. And so I was hooking them up for cheaper. And now, I got a lot of people hitting me up, and like I said, I can't. It's just my mom and I doing this. So this is like very exclusive pieces. So I had to bump up my prices obviously once I started to get better at it. And I'm clocking my time. I'm clocking how much time I spend on it, and it's like, okay, well, I do love the work I'm doing, but I also do need to be compensated for it as well.
Absolutely.
So now I have people trying to, oh, you can't jug it. Like out here, that's in the Bay Area, we say jug is like a hookup. Like you can't jug it. I'm like, nah, not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore. I need my money too. Like it's a lot of time. It's like I spend a lot. I want to keep these things too, but I need my money. If you're gonna want it and support it, then you wouldn't tell like any other retailer could hook it up. Like why you asking me? I need show me love too. Because I'm putting a lot of love into these pieces. So all I need is just show respect when you're trying to approach me about buying something. Because
Absolutely.
I put a lot of literal blood into these things sometimes in pican, Be cutting myself I cut myself on a lot of these things, like it ain't easy doing some of these things. It gets frustrating, Sometimes I have to put it down because the thread will get cut up and it'll get tangled up, and then I gotta start over from scratch because I couldn't untangle it. Because you can't just untangle it and continue from where you started. Now you gotta go backwards and redo it, and it's te vuelve loco.
Yeah.
It's a
That shit is not easy.
Yeah. So that's kinda how I price things too sometimes. I'm like, if this particular piece took me hella problems, like it gave me so many problems, then I'm gonna charge extra because I'm just like, I don't, like I know how much issues this material gave me to work with. Like some things are way harder to work with. And then if it just came out if it just if I just kept bumping into problems with this one, I'm gonna raise the price up a little bit on that one. And if something else just happened real seamless and it came out dope, I'm like, okay, this one didn't cost me that much time or that much problems. I could work with you on the pricing,
Mm.
but for the most part, they all cause me problems.
There's levels.
every every one of them causes me problems. Yeah,
Right, right.
every one of them problem is just like there's just
Some more than
people.
others.
Yeah, hell yeah,
And it's crazy
for sure.
because the people that got in on the ground floor, the earlier supporters, they,
Yeah,
if they didn't fuck their pieces up, they got in
yeah.
early. Like you got some
No,
exclusive
yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah,
A tratarlo
yeah,
bien.
and then I like I try to make sure that I have things like I try to like space out who I'm making stuff for like that. So that's why like now I'm just trying to do like monthly drops so I don't pick and choose who I'm making stuff for because then it gets like keep me in mind. It's like dude like there's only one of me and like there's only one of my mom. Like my mom right now, she's in Mexico. She just had back surgery. So she's recovering right now.
Oh wow.
So you know what I mean? Yeah. So she's out of the picture in terms of this. Like so right now I'm handling everything on my own.
Mm,
So that's another factor. That's
absolutely.
just it's just and I don't want her working on stuff.
Exactly.
Like yeah, I need her to recover on her, and if she ever wants to come back to it, cool. And if she doesn't, just consult me.
I gotta be able to
Yeah,
get. I gotta be able to get things from you, man. So yeah, consulting will
yeah,
be your
yeah,
thing now. You'll be able to help me from
yeah,
that.
yeah. Just consult me on like nah, but for the most part, yeah, I'm I'm handling on my own now. I'm doing all the marketing, doing all the photography, doing all this like
Shit.
to the neck, you know.
How long?
And
It's been like what, 3 years now?
I started like officially, I want to say like what, like April 2020. I no, was it? Yeah, like I think was like April 2020 when I first even like started like playing with it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's when I first started playing with it, and like some of the stuff is like I had to go back and like this is whack. I like had to redo it because it was just like it looked hella like it was just didn't look good. I could already tell my stuff got way better. Like I'm like I said, I'm self aware. Like some of my stuff is like, yeah, this is junk. Like I don't like this. I gotta go back. Like I wouldn't even sell it to somebody. I'm like I don't even feel comfortable selling it to you. This is trash. Like I don't like this. Like it's some it's yeah, it's like some of these stuff I just like I was giving some stuff away damn near, it's just like, "Oh, just buy me some drinks and some food and we're good, let me take some pictures of you." Like, and
Rocking.
it's good.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, like one of the things I want to talk about those like with the brand is I got my logos commissioned by a local designer around here.
Hmm.
So I had him do the Bajo Construxion and then all like my slogans and whatever. So like one of the things that I want to do with the brand is like not only have it just be like the rework, but it's like a trabajar is one of our like it's kind of like a rally cry amongst our culture Latinos. Like a trabajar is like something like essentially it's like kind of like a just do it. Like just well regardless of the circumstance or situation, like, pues a trabajar, like you got to
Yeah.
push through it. You have to like, get to work. And I feel like that's something that I could apply to like in any in any form for like any person, like school, like just like if you're at work, if you're studying, if you're doing like if you're trying to just be at if you're at the gym, you're working on something, you're like rebuilding yourself, you're building yourself up. Like if you're like just anything personal that you're like working through, it's a trabajar. It's like you gotta work through it. So that's one of like the main things that like, I'm getting that I'm making sure to incorporate that into a lot of my pieces to like have the a trabajar, and it's like kind of like a like a rally cry and like a self affirmation,
Absolutely. If you're struggling,
Yeah,
if you're
yeah,
struggling,
exactly.
we
Yeah, yeah. Like I mean, life's a struggle. Life's a beautiful struggle, but you got to just kind of like push through it, and then
a trabajar.
like that's a trabajar exactly. Yeah, no, because like with my dad, like whenever I was working with him, it'd be like okay, like everybody's tired and so on and so forth, and like we just finished up lunch and there's still a bunch of shit to do. Like it's not even you don't even have to yell it or nothing. It's just a trabajar, and it's like
Let's
it's
go.
understood. What let's go, like let's get to work. A trabajar, and it's just like something that's very like near and dear to like our culture, and like and just any immigrant community could I feel like relate to that.
Absolutely.
And like yeah, like that's so it's like that like the whole theme of the brand with like Bajo Construction being under construction, like that all just kind of like interwove with each other.
It comes from that spirit.
Yeah, yeah, and it was funny because like when I was coming up with the name, I didn't even really know what I was gonna call the brand, and then I was brainstorming with one of my good friends. His family has a construction company, and like we were brainstorming a brand name for his company.
Hmm.
He like reached out to me, and then I told him I was like, "Oh, go with a trabajar." I was like, "That's dope." I was like, "I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you till the end of the day. If you don't want it, I'm taking it back." So I ended up taking it back, and then like he was like, he said he needed something a little more professional. I was like,
Mm,
"That's perfect. This works perfectly for me," you know.
absolutely. Is
And like with the yeah, go.
Do you feel, speaking of that spirit and that sort of that saying, do you feel like the younger generation in our culture is starting to lose that spirit? A poner uno a
Um,
trabajar, you know what I'm saying?
I don't think so. I think, everybody has, like, their own, like, approach to it.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, like, I can't really call it. I get what you're saying, but, you c not not everybody's a monolith. I feel like everybody's, it's individuals, I see people older than me that ain't got no grind. I get to see people younger than me that got way more grind than I do, and, it's like I can't call it.
Mm.
But I get what you're saying, though. I feel like, there's, like, the emergence of technology has, has caused a different, an
Complacency.
entire we're like yeah, we're, like, in a completely different era,
Mhm.
We're, like, in a completely different era, like, you and I, like, we grew up in a time where I remember when the internet didn't exist, and now look at this, like, we grew up through this, like, I'm witnessing this, like, the generation younger than us, they have no idea what life is without an iPhone, without an iPad, like, they are like, this is what they were raised with. We saw it happen, so we have, like, a different, like, perspective of it. That's how I see it.
I think the dependency, which is my point. I think the dependency has led to the outcome being this complacency,
Yeah,
because I don't need. I see growing up for me, and you probably could relate. Driving around in your neighborhood or wherever around the city with your dad, you would make mental notes in your head, even if they weren't conscious. Yo, I
yeah,
gotta go through here to get to here, right?
yeah,
When you became of age and you started driving around, ya tu sabía, you like, yo, if I want to go to Fulano, I gotta go down this street. I know my dad showed
yeah,
me the shortcut, and I go through here,
yeah,
and then me llego ahí, I'm with Fulano, right?
yeah.
My son, dude, we'll be in Brooklyn, and he's like, Dad, where we at? In Jersey? And I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Mira, there's one way in from where we live, one way in, one way out. Una puente.
yeah,
Una puente. As soon as you cross that
yeah.
bridge, you're in Brooklyn. So that,
That's funny.
yeah, speaking of the technology, it has led to that complacency with this generation.
Just, like, relying on it, huh?
Absolutely.
Completely relying on it.
No puede llegar a ningún sitio if you don't have GPS. Like, what?
Yeah.
I took trains everywhere. If not, I walked. I would walk.
Yeah, no, yeah, and it's crazy because I like technology. I use it all the
Yeah.
time. I'm not gonna pretend like there. It's interesting, like, because in the Bay Area, there's been, like, the big pushback, like, you're either anti-tech, pro-tech, because we are, like, Silicon Valley. We are the I guess I don't want
The
to call it the
hub.
mecca, but we're the hub, and so it has caused, like, a huge rift in the local community because, like, a lot of people are super against it, and some people are really pro it, and then there's, like, people, like, in the middle. They're like, okay, well, you can't continue to fight what's inevitable. You got to work with it while still also being able to retain the same culture.
Mhm.
So that it's interesting that you bring that up because it's just kind of like something that's in the Bay Area. It's a big, like, clash in ideology.
Wow.
Like, like Elon Musk, like, you have all of this tech shit going on, like, and it has driven the price of housing here astronomically high.
Yeah.
Like, like, the Bay Area, New York is, like, some of the most expensive places in the world, in the country, to live, and it's like not everybody works in tech,
Mhm.
and so there's, like, this huge dis like, discrepancy in like, disparity in wages, and, like, so that's why, you got crime rising up again because everybody, like you said, everybody's trying to keep up with the Joneses, and not even just that, everybody's trying to keep up with their fucking food and, like, just, like, living. Like, it's thankfully my parents purchased this home when they moved from Mexico. They were able to they left, like, so I live in San Leandro. This is a city next door to Oakland.
Mhm.
So we my parents, when they moved from Mexico, they they gave birth to me on the couch. Actually, I was like 9. My mom was 9 months pregnant with me when she moved out here.
Really?
Yeah, so I barely made it. Like, my mom was 9 months pregnant with me, and so I was born out here on a couch in Oakland, and then so we lived in Oakland for a while, and well, Oakland, like East Oakland's, it's the hood, and so my parents ended up moving to San Leandro, where we're at, so it's like the city right next door,
Mhm.
and they purchased this house when it was really cheap, like the real estate market was really cheap,
Mm.
and now it's just like impossible. It's like damn near an impossibility to buy a house for somebody my age. Like, I make decent wages at work, but it's rough. Like the Bay Area is rough to purchase real estate now, and to just like, out here getting six figures is considered like a little bit above the poverty line. Like that's how like big the wage disparity is out here in the Bay Area. It's like a big thing. The so it's interesting that you brought that up, the whole uh I guess the shot, like the technological divide of like generations, because that's like right here in the Bay Area we are like
In the middle of
at
it.
in the forefront of it. Yeah, like there's so many people from the Bay Area that had to leave because it just got way too expensive, and like yeah,
I'm,
it's
I'm
crazy.
surprised they haven't tried to gentrify Oakland.
A lot of parts are. A lot of parts of Oakland are for sure gentrified, but,
Really?
like yeah, it's like, well, yeah, hell yeah,
Wow.
definitely. But, like some communities are always gonna be what they are. Like, people hold it down. Like it's a conversation that could go everywhere,
No, no, no. That's the
Like
that's the reason why I
yeah,
asked the question. And my other
yeah, it's a no,
my other question to you was going to be, because you're in California and it's, not stereotypical, but I have to ask you this. How did you avoid the street growing up?
oh, my dad was
Old
always
school.
on my head.
It
Yeah,
was like,
yeah. My no, my parents made sure I kept my head straight. Yeah,
mm,
yeah. No, my parents always were. Because out here, well, if you're Mexican in California, there's always like, oh, like
gang.
there's always some type of like you get, yeah. But nah, that was never my shit.
Were you in
That was
close
never.
proximity to that living? Like
Yeah,
growing
yeah,
up?
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, like I said, like the Bay Area and Oakland, just like there's a lot of there's a lot of crime everywhere.
Hmm.
It's a metropolitan area,
Absolutely.
but yeah, no, that was never my vibe. That was never my shit.
Mm.
I stay out the way. That was never nothing. That ain't for me.
In the famous words of my guy Minnesota, you was the
Yeah, that ain't
round the
for me.
way Jose.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I was. Yeah, I stay out the way. I stay out the way. I'm a square man.
Nah, I
I
mean,
stay out.
it's not necessarily, and I think that I'm glad that we're
No, it's not
touching
a bad
upon
thing.
this.
I'm just saying.
No,
Yeah,
right.
it's not a
I
bad
I
thing. Yeah.
I think that I'm glad we're touching upon this, because I think a lot of the younger generation, kids in their 20s, and I'm saying kids, but they're young adults, in their 20s, need to understand, like, you don't have to be in a gang to be something or somebody. You can be an individual and live your life and have a great life, one, and pursue what it is you really want from life, two.
Yeah,
It doesn't make you a square, because I know growing up, a lot of dudes who were quote unquote, oh, he's square, what you would consider
yeah,
square, dropping these so-called tough guys.
yeah,
That those two things aren't mutually exclusive of each other. You can be something and still be something else at the same time. And I grew up with older dudes. There was a few dudes. A lot of them were loud, but there were a lot of quiet people that I grew up around that were fucking inner psychos. Pero
yeah.
estaban calla- You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, yeah, in our communities, it's just in like it like who was I telling this the other day too? It was like it wasn't even about like sometimes like what I want out of life is like what I don't want.
mm-hmm,
Like I see shit like that I don't want.
mm-hmm,
Like growing up in like when I was younger, like when I grew up in certain parts of the Bay, it's just like, yeah, I don't ever want that for me. Like I don't want like I don't know what I want, but I know I don't want that.
that, yeah,
I don't want that. I definitely don't want that. I don't want to be involved in that. I don't care. I don't know. Yeah, in your formative years, just like my dad was like really like on my head about what not to be.
Right.
You can figure out later what you want to be, but this is what you don't want to be. So that's really what it was. And I
Absolutely.
think you heard him over there. He's a little, yeah, yeah. So he instilled a pretty good work ethic in us, like because I was working with him since I was young.
A
Like
trabajar.
yeah, ándale. Like I've been working with him since I was young, and like I've been working with my mom too. She has a catering. No, I told you she has a catering business and stuff,
Yeah.
and so like for better for worse, man, like we just got like a real trial by fire, like uh work ethic course.
Mhm.
It's just like that's I appreciate that because it kept me, kept me on the straight and narrow. And I mean, for the most part, you know,
It made you.
yeah, it made me exactly like it's it's something that sometimes you don't appreciate till you get older. And then, but you see it, sometimes they're a little much. They're a little much, but at the end of the day, I appreciate it. I appreciate like having strict-ish parents. Like, they weren't completely strict, but they were pretty strict.
I liken parents who approach rearing children in that way as blacksmiths. So a
Yeah.
blacksmith takes a piece of steel and they heat it
Hmm.
up and they heat it up. They put it on the anvil and
Banging it
they
out.
go
Yeah.
into town, right? But by the
Yeah.
end of that whole process of hours of hitting that hot metal, at the end when they're done and they sharpen it, you have this beautiful fucking sword that could take a head off. And I think
Yeah.
their approach, I like to think of it in that way because it's very, it is strict and they do come down on you, but there's a purpose. There's with
Yeah.
every strike, and I'm not saying this isn't representative of abuse, but
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
the
As
forge
border.
borderline
Yeah, borderline.
the representation of those strikes are the lessons that the parents are
Yeah.
teaching you, right? Because
Yeah.
they're literally forging your life. They're instilling
Yeah.
these values a trabajar in you.
Yeah.
And when you get older, as you are now, it's instinctive, it's innate. So there's
Yeah.
not it's the rallying cry, as you said, a trabajar, is
Yeah.
subconscious because you could be,
Yeah.
like I said earlier, struggling, but innately you're saying, "Yo,
Yeah.
a trabajar."
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, and you know what? This whole project has been good for me personally.
Mhm,
Like even when I'm like, sometimes there's lulls out, in what you do, and like sometimes you get complacent and in life,
mhm.
and then when I started doing this project, I got excited about something, and it's just it caught more traction than I expected. I caught more motion than I expected, and
Mhm,
I appreciate that a lot of people have like shown me love like throughout the country, and like throughout people from other countries hit me up too sometimes just to show me love, and it's like it's dope. Like I wasn't expecting it to like resonate so much, and yeah, I mean I'm gonna keep at it and just keep trying to just pretty much just try to see how far I could take it. It's cool being able to build a brand that's like reflective of my upbringing. Like I don't think I mentioned it, but like my folks, they were undocumented up until recent. Like I was the one that petitioned for their papers. Yeah, so I was the firstborn here, so they were undocumented throughout my life, and that has its own set of circumstances. It's like they're considered illegal out here,
mhm.
and so this brand is kind of like kind of like an ode
It
to my parents in a way,
it's a testament
to
to them.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like
Hold up a second, I gotta interrupt you.
yeah.
This is I don't wanna be, overstepping my bounds, but what are your parents'
Mm.
first names?
My mom, her name is Maria.
Mari
My dad is Haun, not Juan, Haun,
Haun. That's
Haun. Yeah,
that's a very cultural name there, Haun.
yeah, yeah,
What is that? Do
yeah.
you know where that comes from? No?
Mexico. I don't know. Yeah, we're from my family. They're from Morelia, Michoacan.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
salute to Haun, and Maria,
Yeah.
because
Thank you, man. Right.
right now, Bajo Construcción, a Trabajar would not be what it is if it wasn't for their
Sure.
love, their lessons, and their dedication to bringing you here and forging this life for you. You know what I'm saying? So
Right on, man. Appreciate that. That's
absolutely.
love.
People don't, when you get as you get older,
Yeah.
you start to, like I said, those lessons, they just come to the forefront of everything.
Mhm.
As a
Yeah.
youngster, you don't appreciate it because you don't understand.
No, for sure. No. Yeah. Yeah, no, so I'm actually trying to get my dad, like, I'm gonna start putting him in some of my ads and stuff, you know what I mean? That's like, I'm getting some stuff screen printed and stuff, so I want him to, like, be, like, on one of the montages, like, I want him to speak, so
That
I'm,
shit'll be
like, getting
dope.
him to yeah, so it'll pretty much be like, just he's like, "Well, what do you want me to say?" I'm like, "Pues todo lo que me dices a mí." Just,
No.
pretty much talk your shit.
Yeah,
Just talk your
exactly. Talk your
shit,
shit.
you know what I mean? Just talk your shit pretty much. And, I'm gonna make a video out of that with you wearing one of my because like some of the stuff that I'm making is just like I'm just making like some screen printed shirts with my logos
Silk
that
screen?
say, my slogan. Huh?
Silk screen?
Screen No, I'm screen
Oh,
printing them
screen print. Okay.
like
No,
yeah, like
como
on
esto. Mira.
yeah, 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 yeah. But I'm like screen printing them like on like let me see. Like on like Carhartts, like on the
Oh,
yeah, let me show you.
that's a hard ass material, bro.
Yeah, let me see. So so like some of my cousins they work in construction right now, so I'm gonna get them. Oh look, here it goes. Here it goes.
Oh, that shit is hard, bro.
Yeah, and then I added a little bit of stitch into it,
Nah, I,
just to
I
like
can
make
see
it
it. That shit is
original.
fly.
And then
Ah, that's what's up. Yeah, that's
so
dope.
I'm right now I'm like barely getting into like this groove. Like, for one, it gets expensive buying all this.
Hell
For
yeah.
two, you're figuring out the logistics of it all.
Mhm.
So I'm starting to get some more of this stuff ready to go. But yeah, I want my dad to like wear some of these like Carhartt shirts and stuff, and I want him to just like kind of go in there and talk his shit, how he would talk to us, because I want it to be authentic.
Absolutely.
Like I want it to be authentic. I don't want some cheesy, corny shit, like nothing rehearsed. I just want him to just, you know, talk how you talk to me, pretty much.
You know what you do,
'Cause
right?
that,
Get them being
yeah,
encabronado, like fuck with
yeah,
them.
yeah.
and
No,
re-
no, no, no. I know. I just need him to wear the shirt, and then I'm like, yeah. But you know what I mean. Como andaba ahorita.
yeah,
He's like,
exactly. Perfect.
yeah, because it's like something was fucking up in the kitchen. I've been trying to fix it. I couldn't fix it myself.
Mm,
So I'm like, if I reach out to you, it's not because I'm too lazy. It's like I couldn't figure it out myself.
absolutely.
So now I have to call you. But
The
yeah,
landlord, come fix this shit.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I need this. Like, I need the fucking, I need the
Expertise.
plumbing to be working right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. No, but so yeah, so that's gonna be like the next rendition of what I'm doing. Like, that's gonna be like something, not on the side, but that's gonna be a part of it. I'm like really digging into like the whole like Bajo Construction theme of it.
Mhm.
Like the branding of it. It's not just the reworking of the clothes. It's like a whole. It's like an ode to the rebuild, is what I call it.
Nice.
In whatever capacity that applies to you.
That's what's up. All right.
Yeah,
So me and you could stay talking till tomorrow. Ya
yeah.
estamos una hora y media. So
All right,
what we're gonna do is we're gonna end it here, but I'm gonna put you backstage. I'm gonna close out the show and then we'll finish our conversation. All right.
all right. Yeah, yeah.
Tell everybody where they could find you.
Um, you could go on Instagram. My Instagram is at bajoconstruccion.com. So I mean at Bajo Construxion. So that's at B as in boy, AJO_CONSTRUXION. And yeah, that's the name of the brand, Bajo Construxion.
That's what's up. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I'm just gonna talk you away. Give it up for my guest Gibran Leon from Bajo Construxion. Brother, thank you for being here. Sit tight, all right?
Yeah, appreciate you bringing me on the show, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate
Good
your time.
conversation.
For real. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, another good one. I want to thank Gibrand, giving us his time. Check out the brand Bajo Construxion, and don't forget a trabajar. Pone a trabajar. Stop the bullshit. Stop putting your dreams off. Stop putting things that you really want to work on to the side, because it's important that you dedicate to living your life the way you want to live, and that's to the fullest. As always, real people telling real stories. We'll see you at the next one.